I have had a long-running tradition on my channel where I recap the year in the form of a year in review and I go over everything that's happened. And I have no intentions of breaking that tradition, so here we are today recapping 2020. As a rough overview of the previous years, in 2016 I made Let's Play videos on Minecraft and FNAF World. They weren't good. All of 2016 is currently private. In 2017 I made skits like My Dog Eats Doritos. I really don't know how to comment on this. In 2018 my quality improved as I learned how to edit, but my content was on Fortnite, so all of it's outdated now. And in 2019 I quit. Which is where our story begins, so gather around children, for this is a story so real even the Bloods and Crips can agree on it. The reason I quit in the first place is because I didn't feel like delivering on any of the promises I made previously. Probably for the best, because many of them were utter shit ideas to begin with. So for the duration of 2019 I said I'm about to head out, fell on my bed and never woke up. Until March 2020 when my retard brain went, wouldn't it be funny if I made a year in review of 2019 which is just a black screen because I didn't upload shit. I expand on this idea, wanting to do the normal intro I do for year in reviews and then cutting to black. The problem being I don't want to get behind the mic and make a video after a full year of not doing so I call up my mate Pushover and ask him to do it, which was the best decision I made this year. Pushover improvises. He goes off script and starts talking about an iPhone factory in Wuhan, Japan housing a child called Ching who is killed off in the video right before the cut to black. What's ironic is this whole Ching scene ended up being funnier than the actual cut to black. Either way, this incident set in motion a chain of events that cannot be undone. To befriend a simp. On April 1st of 2020, Pushover uploaded an April Fool's video where he confesses to being a simp back when that meme was still relevant. This video instantly sets off my creativity, and within 3 days on April 4th, I uploaded the Simp documentary as a response to Pushover's video. Of course, you've already seen the videos I made this year, so I won't talk about the videos themselves, but rather the behind the scenes work that went into each one. The Simp documentary stands out in 2020 as the only video I edited with iMovie on my laptop, as Premiere on my PC was still acting up. Due to this, I didn't have access to all my regular files and ended up using downloaded images from Google and screen recordings from Netflix for the visuals. And as previously stated, I made this video in 3 days, 1 for scripting and 2 for editing. This was to meet the deadline of Saturday, which Pushover gave me so that we could both have videos go up that day. Oh, fuck off! And guess what, Pushover didn't make the deadline despite setting it. Finally, the Simp documentary started the Ching trilogy by having a lot of background information on Pushover, a few new facts about Ching, and many massive plot holes. I think Golego put it best when he said, "The king has returned to his rightful throne." Because I did, bitch. Following the success of the Simp documentary, I began work on a sequel. Looking back on the trilogy, it may seem like the Ching documentary was the logical next step, but in many ways it wasn't. Pushover was the main character in the first part, and replacing him with Ching makes zero cinematic sense, and that's because it wasn't even the original plan. The original sequel was a video about Pushover's experience in rehab due to the comments he had left on part 1. This sequel never saw the light of day as I couldn't come up with enough interesting ideas or funny jokes to fill the video with. Eventually, I landed on an idea of a chronological documentary on the life of Ching. It was originally meant to be around 30 minutes, but as I couldn't come up with enough interesting stories that happened to some 9-year-old kid. Is he 9? He is 9. It turned out being only 9 minutes with parts of it focusing on Pushover and the 7 Rings. I chose to portray the Ching documentary as a timeline split, where the first half focuses on Ching's early life before the incident, and the other half focuses on the effects of the incident on the characters. This incident is of course the death of Ching in Pushover's factory, which was the big money shot in this video. It was made possible with help from GoLegs on the building and acting. In fact, the amount of help I got from Golego on the Ching documentary and later 7 Rings is what prompted me to name the final part after him, despite him not playing as big of a role as Pushover or Ching. The Ching documentary released on July 2nd to overwhelmingly positive reception, with many of my friends telling me it was even better than part 1 and Pushover naming it the best video on my channel. Seeing as Corona prevented me from traveling to Finland this year, this was definitely the highlight of summer vacation. But what comes next is the long wait. Following the Ching documentary, the idea of the next video was clear: end off the trilogy, but how I wanted the ending to play out wasn't clear whatsoever. I started work on scripting around August, and we'll revisit the script once it's time to talk about Seven Rings, but for now let's pay attention to the other non-scripted videos that were released during this time, as after all, these types of videos is most likely what 2021 will consist of. Watch Dogs was released on July 8th, 4 days after the debut of the Ching documentary. This video basically consisted of me messing around in the 2014 game Watch Dogs, and fun fact, it was all done in one day. I got the idea the previous day at like midnight, as I usually do, and on July 8th I filmed, edited, and published it. The City Skylines video, recently renamed to Sailor 7 Sucks at City Skylines, was filmed all the way back in April after the release of the Simp documentary. I wasn't gonna edit it due to laziness, but one day I got bored and decided what the hell. The video went up on September 14th starring Pushover and got a great reception from my friends. Personally, I thought the video needed more editing, which influenced me to edit the next video a lot. Hello, Allah 3 released on September 26th, starring Go Lego 100. It's basically this video we shot late at night when I was practically hallucinating and decided to boot up one old Hello Neighbor alpha. I'm happy with how the video came out, but it didn't receive as positive of a reaction as Watch Dogs or City Skylines. It's not that I care about how all my videos do, by the way, I just make them for the fun of it, but I'm recommending to you what my friends liked, so if you haven't watched them all, and you don't want to watch them all, I recommend you start at City Skylines. Next, I decided to make a different kind of video, more educational with some humor thrown in there. My history of good video games was released on October 28th, receiving less praise from those that enjoy my usual comedy style of videos, but more praise from my friends who don't share my sense of humor, so they enjoyed this more because it was more educational. So at the time I wasn't sure if I was happy with this ratio of, some people being like, this is shit, and others being like, this is good, but it really turned out in my benefit as it got more of my friends who didn't watch my videos on board for the release of the big boy, the big daddy, the second coming of, not Jesus, it's not that good, the second coming of Ramsey. After completing the Ching documentary, I was lacking all creativity. I kept trying to write Seven Rings, but I just wasn't motivated enough to write anything actually good. I kept piling ideas on top of each other and then removing some like Jenga blocks. Eventually I got a script like Swiss cheese, but deep down I wasn't happy with it. I could feel it while editing. It just wasn't funny enough. It focused a lot more on being able to make decisions, which is cool, but it didn't focus enough on the humor that the other ones did. There was gonna be like long fight scenes ripped straight out of Star Wars and The Matrix, and on top of this, the editing wasn't even working. I couldn't press play. But on midnight of November 6th, it all clicked. I threw away the entire script and I started fresh with brand new ideas that focus on driving the narrative through what's comedic instead of what actually makes sense. I then went on to film and edit all of these scenes, and that was honestly the shorter part. Writing the script took months, and then I just made it in a month. And now that you know the overarching story, let's just get into the details, the real behind the scenes of all these scenes. The video starts with opening credits in black and red, very much inspired by Mask of the Phantasm. Then we learn about the other 5 rings, as we were only introduced to 2 in the Ching documentary. If you couldn't tell, these were very much inspired by the Infinity Stones. Locus is space, Animo is mind, Avum is time, Veritas is reality, so on. This ring that you're seeing on screen was originally Deus, Ring of the Gods, an overpowered ring which had the abilities of all other 6 rings, and it was scrapped because it was too OP and the original script revolved too heavily on everyone trying to get a piece of that Deus action. So it was rebranded to Umbra, which was Go Lego's idea. I mentioned that in his special thanks. Moving on with 7 rings behind the scenes, we have the first decision. Blue Pill was made 3 different times. The original Blue Pill was a fully edited Watch Dogs video made for the original script, and because of that it had references to the original script. So it got scrapped. It is like fully made and exported, but you're never gonna see it. I shouldn't promise that. I'll probably leak it someday. I shouldn't promise that either. For the new and improved script, I made a new Blue Pill, this one on becoming Jesus Christ inside of Oblivion, because it seemed like a pretty fun concept. Walk on water, make bread, make fish, I fully intended on this actually being the blue pill, but on the 22nd of November at 2:30 PM, 30 minutes before the premiere, I uploaded Blue Pill only to be met with a message telling me that the video was blocked in all countries. The Blue Pill you saw is show shorts because it was edited in 15 minutes. Alright, now onto the Red Pill, which is the longest part of the video. So we're gonna go fast. This Battlefront footage was me and Bilho beating Survival on Hoth on the Master difficulty. This slow moving title shot is from the intro sequence in the original script. Me and GoLegs tried to set up Smash Bros inside of Minecraft, and that's where this footage is from. It turned out shit. This footage of me stealing food in Oblivion is from the second Blue Pill. You can hear Yoda scream right here. A respectable person. This wasn't intentional and I didn't realize until the proof watching phase, but I decided to keep it in. Yes, I do hate the Mr. Freeze boss fight because it's the reason I can't beat New Game Plus. GoLego had the hardest voice acting job as he had to read out lines while also acting in a scene. He also fucked up his lines the most amount of times. But you two aren't supposed to meet is a reference to a dream GoLego had in which I said that line. Yes, I have made a presentation on Alzheimer's, and yes, I'm diagnosed with it. This footage is GoLego scoring in Super Soccer with 30 seconds left on the clock while I was in the lead, which made it pretty hype. This level in Donkey Kong Country can suck my balls. This interview scene was shot with me and GoLego, with the voices of Danny and Pushover, so it's the biggest team effort shot in the video. Danny was actually my first choice for the Prophet, as I had good enough explanations for why he harasses Ching, and I knew he'd be fine with doing some voice acting. If he wasn't up for it, I would have contacted Max or Botslayer. Danny actually plays chess, hence this joke. I played with him 3 times and lost 3 times, so I guess you could say I'm 3 for 3. Finally, if you were wondering, Ching's forces actually won the battle in Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. I guess I just gave them better units. The Order 66 ending was indirectly inspired by Eric, as he mentioned something regarding Order 66 while we were playing Rocket League, and it just sparked my creativity for the entire scene. The Betray Ching path requires no behind the scenes info. All of these scenes were really straightforward and there was no special story behind any of them. And same for the Gay Cemetery ending, as this was just a bunch of memes, though I will tell you that this basic ass animation took me 5 minutes to make. Moving on to Love Prevails, I made a Mii fighter and won a match of Smash Bros just for this scene. I bullied GoLegs for maybe 30 minutes straight in Minecraft with invisibility potions. While editing, I got distracted solving this Where's Waldo puzzle I was meant to put into the video. I ain't gonna show you where he is, pause the video and find him yourself. This shot of Boba Fett was legit not meant to be left uncropped. I was actually just that oblivious to what I was doing. And finally, I made GoLego stand still on this moon for 3 minutes and afterwards we blew it up. And finally, the canon ending. I was actually thinking about making this part rhyme to a beat to make it all cool and stuff, but I couldn't be bothered. Finally, I made this collage of the entire trilogy with the Pirates of the Caribbean theme tune in the back. And I know I made it, so I shouldn't be the one to praise it, but damn, this turned out good. Finally, I threw on some nostalgic Zelda music and wrote some special thanks notes for the friends of mine who helped on the video in one way or another. Because Max didn't do much, except for allowing me to use his character, but still helping. This background footage is GoLego building this tower. Don't really know what else to say about it, it's a tall tower. Nice. GoLego and the 7 Rings is my absolute fucking peak. There is no topping this video, and I hope you take that to heart because I will never outdo this. It's the climax of a trilogy with branching choices and the biggest crew I've ever had help me on a video. If you set your expectations for my channel after this video, then you'll be severely disappointed. I will try to make some more stuff like this, that, and Dabba-Daboo as well. After the massive scale production of 7 Rings, I chose to relax and only made one more video this year, copying my friend's 3. So I guess I did deliver on one promise I made in 2018. That's enough for me. There isn't much behind the scenes going on in this video. I guess I made the first part in early December and the second part a week before Christmas. Cool. Now we look on to 2021. What do I plan to do in the future? Well, I plan to promise absolutely fucking nothing. This was the video that killed my inspiration for making videos, as I promised too much and I never wanted to do any of it. So, while I do have some ideas, nothing is certain, things may be scrapped, even if I've hinted at them. Who cares?